Alan Wake is a classic in a lot of ways. It is one of those type of games that I can go back to after a number of years and just get sucked back in. Even this time, I was capturing for this and I wanted to play maybe an hour. Boom, 3 hours disappeared just like that. Alan Wake Remastered is now coming to modern platforms, and I wanted to check out the PC version. Is it a good port? How does it run in 4K and 1440p? We are here to take a look at all of that. Hello everybody, I am Gabe. I'd like to welcome you to the channel, and without further ado, let's take a look at Alan Wake Remastered for PC. By the way, this is an Epic Store exclusive. Okay, so as far as option goes, I was slightly disappointed because there just isn't a ton. Of course, you can get to pick your monitor, your resolution, and there is DLSS. I'm not using DLSS just because of how the game performs and my rig, which if you don't know my rig, it's in the description below. It's a 3080. I don't have the best CPU for games, so if you have a more modern CPU, I have a 3950X, by the way. If you have something more modern from Ryzen, you will have better performance. Alternatively, if you are on Intel CPUs, you will also have better performance. While my CPU is actually really good still, it's quite expensive. It's a 16 core CPU. It's not necessarily meant for games. It still handles games pretty well, but of course VSync is off, and that's pretty much it, unless we go into our advanced options. Here, I'm playing on high because there is no ultra. You can do custom, you can do low, you can do medium, and it's pretty standard bare bones as far as everything goes for the settings. Nothing sticks out, nothing important is really omitted. It's just that they don't have a ton going on. For DLSS, if you do have an NVIDIA card, you can do ultra, performance, balance, quality, or off. I go with off. I also elect to disable motion blur, but I keep film grain enabled just because I like the effect in the game. So like I said, kind of bare bones. I'm sorry if that's disappointing, but it does the job. Nothing fancy, no bells and whistles, but DLSS is there if you need it. Now, before we get into benchmarks and performance, I did just want to talk a little bit about the game. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Not the best games of all time, Gabe's favorite. I love the whole setting of it. It feels like a Stephen King novel the entire way through. I love the little change that they made to the formula for an action third-person shooter where you have to douse the enemies in light before you can do any damage to them whatsoever. While that doesn't change things completely, little tweaks to the formula for me are always appreciated so that the games do feel like they have an identity of their own. Some really fun character moments, some awesome dialogue. For someone with a memory as bad as me, I'll always remember Alan Wake. Every time I get to jump back into it, I feel nostalgic because this is a little bit older now, and if I don't catch myself, me just playing through a little bit for this video could easily turn into me playing through the entire game once again, and we don't need that right now because there's a lot of other games coming out. But that's enough of that for now. Let's go ahead and jump into performance. Okay, so for Alan Wake Remastered, we will be starting with 1440p. DLSS will be off for everything I am about to show you. Highest settings, because again, those are the highest settings available. And I am making sure to show you the exact same piece of gameplay for every single setting. Again, you are watching 1440p on high, and I'll be right back with 1440p medium.
The ground was covered with oily patches that looked like liquid darkness.
Hunters need hunting licenses.
Going into 1440p medium settings, one thing I want to point out is that, in my opinion, it seems like the game is better optimized for 4K. Trust me, guys, you're going to want to stick around for the 4K footage, but we don't fully use the GPU here. It doesn't utilize the entire thing. And I've noticed that this has been happening quite a bit recently with more recent games where it's just not very well optimized, or maybe it's just my CPU maybe not being the best for games. I've tried to overclock the GPU a few times, but it still runs and performs well, don't get me wrong. It's just not where I would like to be as far as playing in 1440p, but trust me, it gets better. Stick around. wasn't going to take a look at 1440p low, but we still will, because this is the only way I was able to get 120 and higher FPS at 1440p. Maybe you guys can help me out. Let me know in the comments if you know what could be going on with my GPU. No, my GPU is not going bad, because with a lot of other games it works perfectly fine, but you see that the GPU usage is sometimes below 60. It goes down to 49, 48. I'm keeping it decently cool, so it isn't that. And in 4K, it does fully utilize the GPU to its fullest, so I think it's more of a game not being super well optimized. But let me know in the comments below. As you can see here though, it runs really well. Even 1440p low still looks really great, by the way. And now for 4K, here you see that I am playing on high settings and we maintain a rock solid frame rate the entire time. I'm playing the remainder of this game in 4K just because it is so well optimized. If you don't have a monitor that does more than 60 FPS with 4K, just turn VSync on and you will be perfectly fine. Here you see us averaging about 83 FPS, and in other parts of the game we even see higher performances. This is the highest setting. You can tweak and run it a little bit lower to maybe even get to 120 if you have the hardware for it. But this is one of those things that makes me just wonder, hey, the game might not be very well optimized for 1440p, because here my GPU is being fully utilized and it's still running very well for being native 4K. The last setting that I am taking a look at today is 4K on medium settings. If you want to play 4K low, you're probably better off just doing 1440p high, but that's just my opinion. We are close, if not a little bit above 100 frames per second here, and I do apologize if seeing the same footage over and over got slightly repetitive. You guys are gonna need to let me know, because I know that some people want to see the same footage over and over just to see exactly how the settings impact it, and some people rather see different parts of the game, but then they say, hey, you're running a completely different part of the game. That doesn't prove that it actually like runs better. So regardless, an average of 100 FPS on medium settings in 4K is more than passable in my opinion. And that's going to do it for me today. Are you picking up Alan Wake Remastered on PC or any other platform? Let me know in the comments below, especially if you have any idea what I could do about the GPU usage being a little bit weird at 1440p. This isn't the only game that I've seen it with. That's why I am asking. I do highly recommend you pick this one up. I also want to let you know that I have a similar video to this about Far Cry 6. You can go check it out. It's on the channel now. I'll link it down below as well. And that's going to be it for me today. Special thank you to members. I appreciate each and every single one of you. You guys rock. You guys be good to each other. Stay safe. Be nice. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Bye.